Hey there, welcome back to Road to Data Engineer. This is going to be episode 17. Yeah, episode 17. And today we are actually going to take a little bit of a detour from where we left off over the weekend. We're not going to be working on one of the scrapers today, and we're not going to be doing Python today either. What we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be working through some of this course on boot.dev that is basically about terminals, shell scripting, that type of thing. So just a little context as to the why. I've been hearing about boot.dev on different podcasts and YouTube videos that I've been enjoying, and I checked out their website, and basically they're for people who want to learn how to become a backend developer. I don't think everything on here is super relevant to me. So, for example, they have JavaScript, which I don't think I really need to know for data engineering. They're more focused on specifically more traditional software development, but I think there's a lot on here that I could potentially learn and some things that I think might fill in gaps for me. So, for example, I already know how to write SQL from my job, but as an analyst, I don't do a lot of CRUD. I learned it a long time ago, but I don't really ever use it. So that would be an example of where it would be a good refresher, and I might learn some new things that are kind of on the data engineering side that I don't do as an analyst, even though it's with a language I'm already very familiar with. The other thing is, I know the focus of the site is to kind of teach somewhat more software development fundamentals, which I think would be good for me. And then, I see they're using stuff like Docker, CI/CD. They have a course on Kubernetes, which is stuff that I know people use in data engineering from what I understand. Not to mention they have a big section on Python. They have a section on Go, which I think some data engineers use Go, but I'm not too sure about that one. So anyways, the point is I think there's some stuff on here that's probably not super relevant for my goals, but I think there's a lot that is. So kind of with that in mind, I've been doing some shell scripting at work off and on starting back in January. So I'm already somewhat familiar with Windows PowerShell and the command prompt. And then also, since I've been using Git since episode 2 of this series, that's kind of a shell as well. So I have some experience with it, but I've never done a course. I don't feel like I have super fundamental knowledge on it. And it's something that I feel there's probably a lot more that I need to learn about it that could be useful in my job now, useful as a DE, maybe other types of tech jobs. I just feel there's no way it could hurt for me to know more about it. And there's a lot of instances where it will help a lot. And it's something I'm genuinely interested in. So kind of the plan is I'm going to go through this Learn Shells and Terminals course on boot.dev to kind of get a feel for the site, feel for what a course on here is like. And if I like it, then maybe I'll do more of their other courses on here. And if it's just okay, then, then I got a taste of what boot.dev was like and learn some more stuff about the terminal. So I actually started the course a little bit already. They just covered really, really basic stuff so far. Nothing too crazy. Mostly stuff that is stuff I've either seen before or done before. Only thing that was interesting is basically really early on, they basically say yeah, Windows command prompt sucks, and download this update for Windows that is sort of more like a Linux command prompt, I guess, is the way I understood it. And it's running on a virtual machine, and you can see now I have a Linux, I guess, distribution or Linux type thing going on my computer, which I didn't have before. It's called Ubuntu. Let's see what it's actually considered. Yeah, it's an operating system, Linux. So it's a clone on Linux for Windows. So I don't I don't know what I think about that. I'd like to understand their reasoning more, but if nothing else, like seeing what Linux can do will be good because then I'll have some experience with Linux type stuff, and also like from my experience so far, learning and using PowerShell and command prompt at work, a lot of like articles and tutorials and stuff online about command prompt are actually about Linux, and then you just look up, oh, I did this thing, or here's this thing that you can do in Linux. How do I do it with Windows? And then you see the equivalent. So worst case scenario, I learned what shells and terminals can do more generally, and then now I know what they can do, so I can easily look up the translations for Windows. So anyway, so let's just jump into where I left off. Okay. Absolute versus relative paths. We've mostly been dealing with relative file paths. For example, let's say we have the following directory structure. When inside the top level vehicles directory, the relative path to the Mustang.txt file is cars, Fords, Mustangs. Yep, that's stuff I'm familiar with. However, when we're inside the cars directory, the relative path is just Ford/Mustang.txt. Yep. Or when in the Fords directory, Mustang.txt. There we go. Absolute paths is where you start at the root, and you write everything to the text file. Yep. So I use absolute paths a lot at work. Maybe I should use relative paths more, I'm not sure. So you can use either the relative path or the absolute path. Which should I use? It depends. Relative paths are easier to read and write, and as long as you're in the correct directory, they're easy to reason about. Absolute paths are more explicit. They're useful when you're not sure what directory you're currently in. That makes sense. So I guess this is kind of making me think of stuff I've done at work, and it's kind of making me think like at work, what I should probably be doing much more often is declaring like the working directory using an absolute path, and then from there, mostly just using relative paths. Because right now, I mostly just do absolute paths, but I should probably integrate relative paths a little bit more. Which file will refer to the same, or which will refer to the same file no matter the working directory? Well, this one, because it has the root in it. Yeah, and we got that question right. Files. You're probably familiar with the concept of files from using a GUI. At their core, files are just blobs of data. The raw bytes in a file can represent anything: text, images, videos, etc. The cat command is used to view the contents of a file. It's short for concatenate, which is a fancy way of saying put things together. It can feel like a confusing name if you're using the cat command to view a single file, but it makes more sense when you're using it to view multiple files at once. Print the contents of a file to the terminal. Okay, so just a little context. Earlier in the course, they had you download something off of Git that essentially came into your root in here and downloaded a zip file, unzipped it, and then moved some folders around, and now we have this here, this file structure, and essentially this is like what they're going to be using throughout the rest of the course to do challenges and ask questions and stuff like that. So just a little context there. So let's see what directory we're currently in. So ls, we're in World Bank, or no, pwd shows us what directory we're in, home/grant. And ls lists the files, right? Let's check our notes. To list content of current directory, to list contents of a specific folder. So let's add a folder here, test folder. And now when I do ls, I should see that. Okay. Yeah. So let's go into the World Bank. I feel like I cannot see this freaking text. Screen background, screen text, pop-up text, pop-up background, terminal. I wish it wasn't blue. Might have to mess with that later. Anyways. Okay, so let's move into, I think this should not, yeah, it's not a command. So I actually have to do CD, World Bank. Well, I gotta spell World Bank right though. There we go. Now I'm in the World Bank folder. Let's see the files. README, go mod, private, public. So cat.file.txt, print the contents of a file to the terminal. Okay, let's write that down. To print contents of a file or files to the terminal. Cat file name 1, file name 2, etc. Okay, so let's do cat read. I wonder if it's case sensitive. Readme.md. Oh, it is. World Bank, a repository for the World Bank project, a file system for the Learn Terminals and Shells course on boot.dev. Okay. So let's do cat. Let's list our files again. So let's do cat go.mod, module github, boot.dev, etc., etc. Okay, so let's do cat readme.md and go.mod. Okay. Use the cd command to navigate to the World Bank directory, which we just did. Use ls to confirm that you're in the right place. You should see a public directory listed. Yep. CD into the public directory. Okay. You should see a file called prideas.txt. Use cat command prideas.txt. So cat prideas.txt. Money trees for everyone. We are literally invested in the environment. Customers can come and harvest the faux cash from their personal trees, exchanging it for real money at a hilarious low exchange rate. Okay. Okay. Sure. So let's actually read a couple files here. Company info.md, key.txt, prideas.txt. Woo! That's a lot. Key.txt. Or cat key.txt. Yeah, okay. Cat prideas.txt. Yeah, okay. So now we need to how do I copy? Oh, just right click. Okay. Boom, you got that right. Nice. Head and tail. Sometimes you don't want to print everything in a file. Files can be really big after all. The head command prints the first n lines of a file where n is the number you specify. So let's try that again. So we're going to do prideas.text. Or no, we're going to do, So head slash n10 prideas.text. The first n lines. So what if we do 5 lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The tail command prints the last, where n is the number you specify. Sure. So tail n 5 prideas.text. Yeah. So let's write that down. Head and tail commands. To print the head. Head of a text where x is number of lines to print. We'll do head in x file name.text to print the tail of a document where x is the number of lines to print, tail in x file name.text. Time to start investigating the finances. Using the cd command to get into the World Bank private transactions directory. So we should be able to go back one directory using double dot, private public, cd private. Time to start. Use cd command to get in the World Bank private transactions directory. We just did that. Run the cat command to view the contents of the 2023 CSV. And seam contact flags, passwords. Oh, we need to go into transactions. So there's some CSVs. You'll notice that it's really long file. We don't want to print the whole thing. So 2023.csv. Yep. So we're going to do head in 6.2023.csv. Amount from toID, user ID from. Okay. We are printing the first 6 lines because the first line in the file is the header, and we want to include that along with the first 5 transactions. Now we're going to print the last 5 using tails, so we'll do tail in 5 2023.csv. Okay. Paste the first 6 lines followed by the 5 lines into the input field and submit. So we'll do head in 6.2023.csv. For a parent directory, you can Alternatively, you can just run cd/cd once. Okay. I wonder if I can use a variable here. They did teach variables. Let me see. How did we declare a variable? Variable name value. File equals 2023.csv. Yep. So I should be able to do head in 6 file. Cannot open. Oh, I need to put the $sign in front. Nice. Nice. Tail in 5 file. Let's copy. Okay, cool, cool, cool. Okay. More and less commands let you view the contents of a file one page or line at a time. As the adage goes, less is more. In the context of these commands, less is literally more. The less command does everything that the more command does, but also has more features. As a general rule, you should use less instead of more. You would only use more if you're on a system that doesn't have less installed. Interesting. You found nothing suspicious in the first and last transactions of 2023, but you're not done yet. It's time to dig through the middle of the file as well. Run less and pass in the path to the 2023.csv file located at the root in the world private transactions directory. Okay, so we're gonna do echo file. Okay, so we do have 2023 to define. Notice you're now in an interactive mode and you've lost your PowerShell prompt. That's because less has taken over your terminal window. Press enter a few times to scroll down a few lines just to see how that works. Press Q to exit the less program and return to your shell prompt. Nice. Q generally will exit you from interactive modes in Bash. To print the contents of a file, one page or line at a time, less file name.txt, right? So we're gonna do Q. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, huh? That's really cool. Rerun the less command, but this time pass in the in flag to show line numbers. Okay. Less in file less capital in file. Okay, nice. To show line numbers of document, pass in the in flag. Less capital in file name.txt. You can use the spacebar to scroll down a page at a time, and you can go back up by pressing B. To scroll down one line at a time, press Enter. To scroll down one page at a time, press spacebar. To scroll up, press B. Find line 153, copy and paste the contents of that line into the input field and submit. You can use Q to exit less at any time. $153. Nice. Touch. The touch command is designed to update the access and modification timestamps of a file. By default, if the specified file does not exist, touch will create an empty file with the given file name. Because of this, you'll often see this command used to quickly create new files. You can also create multiple files at once by listing. Touch can be very handy when scripting because it ensures certain files exist without altering existing ones, creating new files only if necessary. Okay, definitely want to write some of that down. Touch command. The touch command updates and modifies or command updates the access and modification. Touch command updates the access and modification timestamps of a file. If the file does not exist when using touch, the command will create an empty file with the file name. Touch can accept multiple file names at once. Touch command is often used to quickly create new files. Touch command is often used to verify a file exists when scripting without altering existing files. Without altering existing files. Text, file name to text. Okay. We're going to do touch example file.text. Yep. Touch file1.text, file2.text, file3.text. Nice. Touch 2023.csv. Okay. You discovered a discrepancy with the credit card files. World Bank is supposed to be keeping credit history records, but they aren't there. Change into the World Bank Public Products Credit Cards directory and create a new file name, credit history.txt, so they can keep track of that information. CD slash, this should take me to World Bank, private public, CD public slash products slash credit cards, touch credit history text. Here we go. Nice. As we mentioned before, a directory is just a location in a file system that can contain files in other directories. On some systems, directories are called folders, but it's the same thing. Yep. The mk directory command, make directory command, creates a new directory inside the current directory. Yep. Creates a new directory inside the current directory. mk direct new directory name. New directory slash folder. mk directory boot.dev boot_dev directory folder boot_dev test. I know we see that. Man, I really cannot see the blue. I need help because I cannot see the directory names. In bash, how can I change the font of directories to be a color other than the default dark blue? Because I cannot see this shit. ls colors environment variable. This variable controls the color scheme used by the ls command in listed files. Here's how you can change. Open your bash rc or bash profile file. This file to set the ls. Open it in your favorite text editor. Bash rc. Interesting. .bash rc. nano bash rc nano. Are specified as 2-digit numbers. Wait. That's all cool. Apply the change. Save the file and apply changes by sourcing. Home grants. Okay, here we go. Whoa. I don't want to open it there. Open with Notepad. Alias directory color equals auto. The DI directory entry. Uh, um, um, maybe I can just do this. Is it telling me to do it? Whoa. Okay. Uh, enable color support of LS and also add handy aliases test. Here's my profile file, but I'm not sure what to edit. Other support with the command. Here's how you can customize it. Customize the .directory colors file. Or create if it doesn't exist. Hmm. Okay. Did I close Bash? Oops. I did. There's the directory colors file. DI. I want a color that I can fucking read. Maybe red. Sure. Because I cannot see the blue. Um, okay. So let's see if that worked. Don't know if it will. Thank God it works. Okay, now I can actually see. Okay, now that I can see the directories in Bash, let's go back to the course. During your digging, you found a file that appears to be out of place. Go to the World Bank /public/product/credit cards directory. Man, I can't see. In Bash, where it shows the directory I'm currently in, how do I change the default color from blue to red? PS1. Maybe it's in the profile. Or bash.rc. Open with notepad. Boot. PS1. Whoa. 30, 34, 31. Okay. Let's restart. Thank goodness, now I can see. I can actually see what directory I'm in. Okay, so let's see. Run the ls command from there. You should see the tbills.txt file. Yep, tbills.txt. Inside the products directory, create a new directory called investments. Inside the products directory. Create a new directory called investments. MK direct investments. Once you've done that, from inside the products directory, run ls. Paste the output of the command in the input field and submit it. Let's do it. Boom. All right, y'all. So this is about the time on Tuesdays that I catch up with my best friend. So I'm going to end the episode here, but hey, this is pretty fun so far. I like, it's teaching me things, but it's also kind of asking me, hey, do this or do that, and not necessarily saying this is how you do it. It just expects you to use stuff they've already taught you to do it. So that's cool. So for anybody who watched, thanks so much and have a great night. See ya.